What's up, everybody? Welcome to the We Likey That podcast. We are back in the stew. I'm in Owensboro. The boys are in Mississippi. We had a week at the beach. It's been a wild week. I'm joined today by Mulvey. What's up, Mulvey?
What's up?
Oh, you got the camo hat on. You got Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. They can't see your head. That's why I was telling. Well, I can't see your head either.
He's just the top of his head is just floating.
Yeah, it's invisible. Rocking a Tim McGraw and Faith Hill shirt.
We out here.
Beautiful
Strong
couple there. Great Mississippi couple.
That's right.
I stand by it. Yeah. What's the scoop here, Mulves?
Oh man, not too much. Been a weird week.
This is gonna go.
No, it's a week back from vacation and it sucks. That's what I do now.
And honestly, I had the worst Sunday scaries of my life on Sunday.
I
was just.
What's a Sunday scary?
I was staring at just like the next day before you have to go back to work.
Yeah.
Like it's, you're just thinking like.
I have to go back into this.
I was just not there for a week.
Yeah.
And now I'm about to go in.
It's
going to be like nothing ever changed in my life, even though this vacation changed me for the better.
That's right. I used all my dopamine last week, and this week, none left. And it was just.
A rush.
Yeah, it was a low.
It was a rush.
Yeah. I had a rough week as well, so I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. We're all grinding in. That's good.
That's right.
Well,
but we capped up in the stew today, baby.
Yes, sir.
We all got our little caps on.
We all rocking hats.
Mulvey got his little shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
Curdy rocking that We Like You, that uniform with the Carhartt.
Yes, sir.
I got my
Save the Whales.
I got my Save the Whales shirt on.
Sir, I'll always be saving them.
It says extinction is forever.
That's true.
And so
that's true.
If you've ever seen Blackfish, I would die for Tillicum. Free Tilly.
Haven't seen it.
I think he might already be dead. It really is an interesting documentary if you want to go watch it. It's called Blackfish.
And sad,
I've heard of it.
The whales are much smarter than they appear.
Yeah.
I believe that.
They feel things.
Well, Mr. Cam, how are you doing?
I'm good. But I will say, We Like You That fans worldwide are due an apology.
No doubt.
As we said we were going to record a live podcast, which we did. We did not lie. However,
we did record it.
The audio is that of if you put a mic in the middle of a daycare and
sounds
during
the same.
playtime. And it's as if we were all speaking in other rooms while also speaking in the same room. So we decided that it would probably be best for everyone's ears if we didn't release that podcast. Well, although it was a banger,
we did release it.
We released
for
it
about
for
30 minutes.
Did you catch it?
And about 7 people downloaded it.
If you're a true fan, you did listen to it.
Yeah. Yes. And
if you're a true fan, you listened.
Shout out to my brother-in-law, Chase. He listens to every episode. He says we're his favorite podcast. But shout out for listening, which is awesome.
Are we the only podcast he listens to, Chase?
Maybe I don't know.
Okay.
We're the only one he's referenced, but he texted me and he said, I'm going to just read his text because I think it's important for us to get a view. So yeah, here's what
it was bad. Don't feel like you missed out.
He said he's a trim carpenter. He said worked 10 hours today in 97-degree heat index with 70% humidity. But listening to episode 5 of your podcast was the most difficult thing I've done all day.
That's a good review of what happened.
That's hilarious.
The audio was horrible. He also was not happy that we said the Suicide Squad was good, but I stand by it.
Really?
Anyway, yeah.
Chase, you had me going in the first half. I'm questioning you.
So, apologies to all 4 of the people that found it. So.
Yeah.
But kudos to Curdy. He worked really hard on trying to make it work. It just didn't happen. Our friend Josh, who y'all have met, J.M. Ross, J.M. Ross was the culprit, an accidental culprit in the whole thing. He didn't know about. You would think a recording artist would know about audio, but he knew zilch to nada.
Yeah. So. To be on his side, though, Josh has said before, he knows only about the things he cares about.
He wants to do.
Right.
Yeah, like if he's not actively doing it, I do too. He does not have storage space for any information outside of what he is currently doing. So,
that's fair.
Good for him. We'll have him back on the pod and try to do it. I will say there was a lot of weather talk in that one.
Yeah, we basically just drug meteorologists through the mud.
We did.
Yeah, so you got
it. And then eventually came around to understanding them. So
yeah,
it was an all around just kind of inceptional pod because our voices were coming from all angles. So
it is.
You didn't miss anything. If you're looking for episode 4 on YouTube, Curdy is working on that.
Yeah, YouTube is a monster. They are not nice. When you try to upload hour-long videos, like they're just not cool about it at all. But all that to be said, we are excited. We are back normal format today. We got a really interesting topic. I'm going to say what the topic is. These boys don't know yet, but we're going to talk about the national parks. Hear me out. There's some crazy stuff to go on. But before we get into
national parks have you guys been to?
0, which is why I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to it.
I've been to Grand Teton.
Maybe 2.
I've been to Smoky Mountain. Is Smoky Mountain one?
Sure. I'll give it to
Save
you.
this for the topic. Trust me, this information will come back. No, I love it.
Sorry.
So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to hit our top 10s, which is a wild new segment that Cam hit us with about 5 minutes before we started recording this.
Yeah.
And before we do any of that, we have an ad. So check this out from Riverside. Mulvey, take it away. Mulvey, I cut your ad in here. Doing an ad, whatever.
My name's Mulvey.
Let me clap let me clap to make sure I can see it in the recording where we're going. All right, boys. So we have had a week off work, which means we've had 2 weeks really off the pod. So we have some good We Likeys, I have to assume. I've got 2 solid ones. I assume you guys are rolling with yours. So, Mr. Cam, you seem pretty excited about it. So I'm going to let you hit us up first with your We Likey and Dislikey of the week.
Okay. So my likey this week is when you're riding down a road, and we're in Mississippi, so our roads are very volatile. So it's tough. It's tough to know what you're going to get on any given road you turn onto. But when you get to a road that has just been paved and you're riding on that slick pavement and you're just rolling through, there's no lines on the road. There's no street laws at that point.
That's true.
Because there's no lines and you're just riding with the wind. That feeling of just no bumps. You're jamming out to something. Nothing's in your way. You're just free sailing. It's a beautiful feeling on a Friday afternoon.
That is nice. I remember when I was a kid, the road that was like right next adjacent to my house just got paved and it was long. And dude, we hopped on our bikes and just rode that thing for like hours.
There's no better feeling than a bike on a freshly paved road.
Yeah,
smooth.
Dude. Nothing can stop you.
Cam, you talked to me while we were at the beach about how Jackson, Mississippi has like the most expensive license plates in Mississippi or something, and also the worst roads of any place I've ever been. It's driving in Jackson is akin to driving on the surface of the moon. Like it is horrid. Yes. It's terrible.
Yeah, you could at any moment end up in a sinkhole the size of West Virginia.
That's true.
So. Well, there was thoughts and prayers to the family. This was a couple years ago, but y'all remember that girl that was on the way to her graduation? She had just gotten a new convertible. It was a Saturn. I'm not saying her parents, went cheap on her, but a Saturn convertible. But point is, you can't even get parts for it.
Of convertibles.
It was technically a convertible vehicle.
Yeah,
it was a flip phone.
So she hit up. It wasn't a pothole. It was a manhole cover. They left the manhole cover.
They left it off. Yeah.
She hit it on the way to her graduation. I think it was Jackson Prep or Jackson Academy. Yeah. And she hit it, and it just flipped it over directly onto, and she died. Yeah. And then Jackson, they tried to sue the city, and the city was like, I think they made money off it.
I think the construction company, whoever forgot to put the cones out, whoever was doing it, got.
Dang it! I just wish Jackson would have had to pay.
Up. Yeah,
they couldn't have paid.
That's true.
They couldn't have.
But the license plates are like $600 more than like the normal ones.
It's so egregious
with the money.
So egregious.
Like that's an unreal amount of money to not do anything with.
Yeah,
they got to pay Coach Prime somehow. They got to pay.
In Rankin County, man, we got roads that are smooth as can be. I tell you what, it's like riding on Lake Michigan. It's just glassy.
I'll say Kentucky roads for the most part are nice.
The names of a lot of lakes. Lake Michigan might be a treacherous body of water. I have no idea.
I don't know. I think that's the one where all the storms happen, to be honest with you. It might be Superior.
So maybe not Lake Michigan. I don't know.
It's smoother
Lake Tiacata.
Lake Tiacata.
In Louisville, Mississippi.
Yes.
Good spot.
That's sick. What about your dislikes? Or dislikey?
So my dislikey, there's a UFC event this weekend, right, Moles?
Is there UFC London, baby?
Starts at like 11 a.m. again.
Yeah.
Like, why are they doing it at that time? It's a good little lunch. You're watching people beat each other to a pulp at lunch. So that's a nice
light
nice feeling.
viewing party for your sandwich.
My dislikey is when these celebrities, or barely even celebrity, like that Andrew Tate guy is probably like this.
Yeah.
But they show up to the UFC event after spending thousands and thousands on the tickets, and they wear sunglasses the whole time in a dark arena.
It's a dark arena, yeah.
How do you see any? I've been to a UFC fight, okay? And I was probably 15 rows back, and I couldn't see a thing most of the time. Like, I was looking at the Jumbotron, and I didn't wear sunglasses.
Right.
So it's like, how are these people justifying spending all this money just to be in the dark as they are at an event? You know what I mean?
I've never understood, like, people who could wear sunglasses inside all the time, regularly. There's a guy, we listened to a podcast, one of the guys wears sunglasses, or did for a long time. He recently took them off and
shouts to
transition out.
R.I.P. Eric.
PFT. Yeah, sorry about his brother passed away. But all that to be said, like, I can't imagine living my life with sunglasses. I don't even like wearing sunglasses for driving for long periods of time.
Rarely remember to put them on. Like,
me too.
I have these baby blues, and the sun just pierces them. And
mine
I still
too.
forget to put mine on. I'm just like squinting most of my life, which I do have astigmatism. So,
stigged up, huh?
Yeah, I'm stigged.
I learned recently that it's not. It is. Wait, I'm going to lie to somebody.
It's astigmatism. It's a word.
It's not a space stigmatism.
Right. It's astigmatism.
Yes.
It's a condition. I have astigmatism.
You have astigmatism.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah. Patty the Batty fights, right, Mulvey?
Yes, he does.
That boy is the most relatable UFC fighter ever. His weight fluctuates like the stock market.
Dude,
I feel like I would relate to that man better if I knew anything he said. He's like, we're going after the... I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, he has the heaviest accent ever.
Very thick.
He's the most
gross
Irish guy ever. Yeah, terrible. Well, that's good. I'm going to go next. My We Likey this week is, I like whenever you try a new recipe that you saw on TikTok and it joins the rotation. And what I mean by the rotation is I'm a married man. Me and my wife have a solid rotation of food that we will go this week, or it was actually 2 weeks ago that I did this new recipe, but I made, it's blowing up all over. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, but it's birria tacos. They're all over the talk and all over the YouTube. And so we've made them before in the crock pot, but it was like so much work, it wasn't worth it. This time I found an Instant Pot recipe and we made it, and it was so good that we were like, this is forever going to be a part of our rotation. So it was huge. It was huge. I love that feeling. Same with Cam. You recently discovered a new one, right? Did you try it?
We also tried the birria in the crock pot, and it was good. It was a little underwhelming. It wasn't as like hot and nice as spicy as I would have liked, but it was pretty good. Kimmy
Instant Pot.
Real
I'll send you the recipe.
That made it really good. Whatever that kind of cheese is
Oaxaca
cheese. Foreshadowing to the top 10. Anyway, we tried the old Mississippi pot roast, as they call it. And,
it's fire.
Basically, it's just like a beef roast with
butter and ranch,
au jus and ranch packets and
pepperoncinis.
The pepperoncinis that you get in the Papa John's box, and an
entire stick of butter. An entire stick of butter goes in it. It makes it
and
so
I'll get
good.
flamed, okay? I'll get flamed. It was a little spicy. I mean, it was a little spicy. My lips were tingling a little bit, okay? It was a little spicy. I
do the juice, too. It's quite a bit of spice.
Oh, I covered it in juice. It was peppery. Yeah. It was peppery. But it was good. I would do it again, for sure.
It's very good.
It was funny. Me and my wife were planning our groceries, and I was like, we need to make another Mississippi roast this week. So,
absolutely.
Sandwiches, tacos, whatever you want to do with it. Recommend.
Ain't no roast like a Mississippi roast, folks.
That's right,
but adding it. So yeah, that's been my big likey this week. My dislikey is one that I think might be polarizing for our listeners, maybe even for the people here in the stew. So I do not like being a regular at places. I do not want to be. I don't want to go to a restaurant and have to talk to you like we're friends. And here's what I'm saying. So there's a place here.
What an attitude.
I know. But here's the thing. So like there's a place here that's awesome. I go get my protein shakes from there. It's incredible, man. It's so good. And it's like a 400 calorie shake with 40 grams of protein. It's so dope. I'll go there.
What are the real max, bro? What are the real max, bro?
That's what I'm saying. Well, like I showed up, I'll walk in, and there's 2 employees that work there. One of them goes to the gym with me, and the other one is just a guy, and he's very friendly. But every time I go in, I have to talk for 15 minutes, and all I want is to just say give me my white chocolate peanut butter shake, and they hand it to me, and then I walk out and leave. And it's the same place. Like there's gas stations that I go to regularly to get energy drinks. And there's a girl who wants to talk to me every time. She's like, "Hey, you getting the same thing?" Like, it doesn't matter to you what I'm getting. I just want to pay you and leave.
Can't blame her, man. She just wanted to chat you up.
I know. And I know they're bored and they want nice people. And I'm sorry, but I just don't. I don't want to be a regular. I guess. Apparently, I'm finding that
I love being a regular, man. I love the feeling of walking in and then being like, "What's your regular boss?" Go back to episode 1, you know.
Yeah, you don't get chiefed up until you are regular. So.
Yeah, no one's chiefing you. No one's being like, "All right, chief, you know what it's going to cost.
You know the drill.
Swipe it."
But then I start feeling bad. Like I'm a regular at places. So one example is there again, the gas station that I would go to. I started going to a different one because it was faster on my route home. And then when I came back, the gas station clerk that thought we were friends was like, "Hey buddy, where have you been?" And then I have to lie to him and be like, "I've just been working, man," which is not true.
I hate being liked. You're right. It sucks. I hate when people wonder of my whereabouts and how I'm doing.
It's just, I feel like I'm cheating on them. It adds a pressure, a societal pressure to transactions that I don't need. I'm already spending money. I don't want to feel bad as I'm going to a different gas station in town. And I'm loyal to the gas stations I go to. I just don't want to talk to the cashiers about it.
Mulvey
There's one
is
cashier
actually the regular
my baby. Yeah.
Aren't you, Mulvey? Yeah, you're like the guy who has regular. So what's your perspective?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I like it. There's some days where I'm kind of tapped out on.
You just don't like the ones you hate.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but that sentence would be true of any.
Some days I do get the opposite perspective where I'm kind of tapped out on conversations for the day. Then the person comes in that you know is gonna want to chat you up. But it's good though. I mean, I like that. There's just some days where I'm like, oh man, I kind of just want to get this transaction over and get back to chilling. But
I can imagine at a coffee shop, you also are going to have it's different to me, being a regular at a coffee shop as opposed to somewhere that's a quick place of business that I want to walk in and get out of. Because there's a coffee shop here in town that I go to now. Granted, I know the people who own it really well, but same would be true if I came in Mulvey's. I wouldn't mind, you or your wife being like, "Hey," because we're friends.
Right.
But I could also see from your perspective how if there was a certain guy who was really lanky and goofy looking and he came in 247 pounds of man that works at a bank or something and he just were to just stumble through the doors smelling like cigars and steaks, I probably wouldn't want to hang out with him for a long time either. So I would
and doesn't know his order ever, just expects you to make it.
Yes, it's a regular. They're like, "Give me the usual." You're like, no one knows what your usual is, man.
That sounds tough.
And it's hilarious when there's a new barista and this man Cole comes in and he's like, "Can I get my usual?" And they're like, "I don't know it." He's like, "Neither do I." You're like, "All right, guy, I don't know how to help you."
Learn your order, man. You guys have been open for 2 years, for 3 years,
so long,
almost 4,
almost 4,
3.5.
Wild.
Yeah, it's been a while.
If you're listening out there, hit up Mulvey's in Hattiesburg. Delicious coffee.
Sir.
So anyway, speaking of Mulvey's, what you likey and dislikey this week, Big Squid?
So, speaking of diet, what's up? Speaking of diets and a rotation, I love coming back from vacation and you get back on the diet, you're doing pretty good. It's a transition week. The first week to 3 months after vacation is a transition back to your diet.
Week to 3 months.
First year, the year when it's like 10 months where you just eat whatever you want, and then 2 weeks before,
and then you hit it hard.
We go to the beach, you're like,
exactly. But that week or so, and you get back and you're eating pretty good, but in comparison to the 20 pounds of fried shrimp you had the week before, if I sneak in, I could be
the boldest move of all time, the first night ordering the all-you-can-eat popcorn shrimp.
All-you-can-eat. Started off strong.
Just baskets.
I ate the first basket, and then he was like, don't worry, boss, already got you 3 more orders in. And so I then felt like I had to live up to something, so he started bringing them, and I ate the second basket and was like sweating batter. And I was like, I can't do it anymore.
Kurt looked around the room like, y'all are all getting all you can eat, right? And we were like, I don't know. He was like, he ordered it, and then none of us did. It was just a tough scene for him.
You can't get all you can eat and then not at least get the second basket. So,
yes.
You're in a tough spot.
Oh, man.
Got to justify that bill.
That's right.
It was not worth it. I was so sick.
We also got ice cream afterwards, just an all-time combo.
Oh, yeah, we did do that. It's a heavy meal. It is good ice cream. Same little building. But, so that week after, you can be a little bad boy and get, like, a Taco Bell burrito or sneak in a late-night cookie. And you feel okay because in juxtaposition to the insane amount of food you ate the week before, you're like, this is still pretty good. Like, I'm doing pretty good. So I love that week after. You're like, I'm not doing too bad, even though I'm still doing bad in comparison.
Oh, I'm with you. I've eaten at every restaurant I like this week just to, like, revisit old flames. It's tough to get back on track, but
the week after is tough to get back for sure.
I'll say that like all of us three have been on the same like grind for the last since we one day looked in a mirror like 5 years ago and we're like, wait, we all got fat. And so we've all had to for the last 5 years I've been cutting. Like I've been trying to lose weight actively.
One long cut, yeah.
And so I don't even know. I feel so much worse when I get back that week, like this past week, because I've been I've been grinding. And last night Brooke had a tough day, and she was like, "I just want to get a pizza." And I had already tracked everything and planned, but I was like, well, last week I ate 3 baskets of shrimp in an attempt to not disappoint a waiter. So sure, get some pizza. So I do agree. It takes a little pressure off where you're not feeling, but.
I've been bulking for 26 years, so I'll start my cut soon. I'm going to start my cut soon.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, speaking of cuts, Mulvey, what would you cut out of your life because you dislike it so much? Segue.
It would be, this is more of a gripe, I guess, and very specific to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. But the dang Walmart in town burned down last week while we were at the beach. Okay? It freaking burned down.
You're a frequenter of that Walmart.
Yeah, because there is a chain in Hattiesburg that I'm going to call out. Everybody in town calls them out. It's called Corner Market. Okay? It started in Hattiesburg. They've expanded.
Okay.
But Hattiesburg is very about local, but not in the most positive way to benefit their residents. So Corner Market they basically blocked like Kroger. There's a Winn-Dixie here, but that's mid anyways. But they blocked Kroger and like Trader Joe's, Aldi. They can't come in town because of this coup they have with Corner Market.
This coup.
And so it's very expensive. Like if you were to buy the same thing
That's not the right
Walmart,
definition of a coup, just so you know.
It's a coup, baby. It's a coup.
Okay.
Mulvey's trying to throw the vocab out.
Yes, sir. I couped up, baby.
That's all right.
If you were to buy the same groceries at Corner Market and Walmart, you'd probably spend, like, let's say you spend $100 on your groceries for the week at Walmart, it'd be $150 at Corner. And the selection's very terrible. So I shop at Walmart. But the bad dog burned down this week. And I've just been stuck.
Did Corner Market burn it down?
They might have. I believe it.
This coup has...
Conspiracy.
This coup is heavy.
of just... arsonists
that would be a
burn
coup.
Down Walmart.
That would be a coup. Okay.
That would be a coup because a coup is like a coup d'etat is taking over, like overthrowing something.
I've never heard this word used. Use it in a real sentence, Kurt.
There's a coup to overthrow the government.
The coup burned down Walmart. The coup of corner
January 6th was the beginning of a coup d'etat to overturn them. I don't know what the French word means. I just know what the word is. But I've heard it in
the Walmart
it's like a
people
rebellion.
don't need any more money anyway. It's fine.
No, but I need more money in my pocket. So
yeah.
Question. And this is going to sound elitist of me, so I'll take the blow here. Very unhinged behavior to shop for a full grocery trip at Walmart. I don't think I've ever.
They don't have Kroger
done that.
I'm telling you, we don't have Kroger. We don't have anything else. So literally everybody here, like you go to Corner Market to get your Dink and Dunks little. I need an avocado. I need a thing of bread. But you do not. If you fully grocery shop at Corner Market for the week, you are rich, my guy, because it is expensive.
Jackson's getting Aldi. I don't know anything about Aldi, but apparently we're getting one, and people are excited.
Sick. Aldi's is sick. There's one in Slidell that I want to go to.
We have an Aldi. I genuinely 3 minutes down the road from it. Like I could walk to it. We've never been in it because the first time Brooke ever went was the first time it was like our first week here, and Aldi is very confusing in that you have to like put a quarter in to get your buggy. You have to get your buggy, bags. You have to go. There's like a specific entrance you go in. It's all very laid out. And Brooke didn't know any of that, and the people were not very nice about it. And she was already in a new environment, like having moved our entire life. It was bad. We're gonna go back and we're gonna attempt it again. But yeah, we shop at a place here. I don't know if this is a chain or not. It probably is.
No,
it's called
Meyer. Oh, I thought you were talking about Aldi.
Meyer. I know Aldi's a chain, but we shop at Meyer. I thought you were about
to say Kroger, and I was like, Kurt, obviously.
No.
Kroger we don't shop at milk is elite.
We have 2 Krogers here, and we don't shop at either one of them because Meyer is kind of like it's like if Target and Kroger got married. It's a little nicer. We probably pay a little more, but it's also again 30 feet from my house. So, anyways, all right. Well, those were good likies and dislikies, boys. I have a sweet topic for us today. Before we get into it, check out this ad.
We gonna add it. It's an ad. We go.
All right. So this week, I was working on a topic. I haven't told them what it is yet because it is on face value. It doesn't sound all that interesting, but trust me, as we get into this, it's gonna unfold. We're gonna talk. It's like an onion. It's got layers.
It's got layers, baby.
How much do y'all know about the national parks? Cameron, you said earlier that you've been to a few national parks. What national park have you been to?
I've been to the big ones. Well, I'll say that. I haven't been to Yosemite, but I have been to Yellowstone. Okay. I've been to, I guess it's the Grand Tetons National Park.
Yeah.
Which is
sick. Is it Teton or Teton?
Do you know in French it means breast?
I could see that by the pronunciation.
My dad told me that like it was the sickest joke ever when I was a kid, and I was kind of like, "Yeah, I mean that is sick. Like, why did they call it that?" He's like, "Cause it's mountains."
Did you check that, or did you just?
Maybe my dad was just like, "I gotta check it real quick."
Those look like boobs. That's a dad joke for sure.
Maybe it was just maybe he duped me on that. Big breast is what it means.
That'd be hilarious.
Wild. That's wild. That's what it means. That is
no
insane.
Way.
That's awesome.
Sorry for our little
You went to the bosom.
But, you know.
You're good. You went to the bosom of America. It's beautiful.
I was right there in the bosom.
Awesome.
Nestled.
Awesome. Have you been in any national parks?
If there are any in Oregon, then yes, because I've traversed there pretty heavily.
You've been on every part of Oregon.
You've seen some old pines,
pretty much.
Eh?
We drove all over that bad dog. Yeah, but other than that, Salt Lake City count. Been there. That's about it.
Doesn't, but it will come back into play.
There? Actually, did you go to the National Forest or did you fly into the airport?
Man, I've been flying, I've been skiing, I've been all that stuff.
He wasn't there. You haven't been.
No, you've never
been to Salt Lake, baby.
All right, so here's the thing about national parks. I've never been to any national parks at all that I'm aware of, unless like I guess Gatlinburg isn't one, right? Like places
Smoky
like
Mountain,
that, like in Tennessee. Is Smoky Mountain National Park?
Have you been to the refuge in Starkville? That's technically a national park.
Then yes, I have been to one national park.
Jellystone,
Starkville, Mississippi.
Jellystone National Park. In
I have also been to Jellystone in Pelahatchie.
Shout out Yoki.
So I've been to a couple national parks I found out recently. But
nice.
I was researching. The reason I even bring it up is I don't necessarily have I'm not like an outdoorsman by any feat of the imagination or anything like that. But the national parks are a hotbed for weird things going on in the world. Here's just a couple fun facts about the national parks. There are around 1,600 people who have been reported missing since 1910 linked to national parks. Over, I think it's like 7,000 miles. That's coming back, yes. So there's a lot of rumors around them, but instead of hitting every national park and trying to find it, I zoned in on the one that was kind of like the weirdest and the one that I resonated with. And that was one none of us have been to, is Yosemite National Park. So Yosemite was made an official. We know you haven't been. You've said you haven't.
Our friend Alex very clear. It's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Alex has been there, and so we're right there on the cusp of having been there.
Yeah, we are essentially having been there. We've been
He's
there.
He's our number one fan. So yeah.
I have a shirt that says Yosemite on it, so count that. But I've never been to Yosemite. It was made a national park in 1890. But before that, there's an extremely, extremely bloody history that led to this. So Yosemite is located in Northern California area. It's in California. It's a beautiful place. I mean, you can look at pictures of it. It's probably I would say it's tied with Yellowstone as the most famous national park, right? Like when you think national parks, you're thinking Yellowstone, Yosemite. Well, so it was home to the Awanichi tribe, which was a Native American tribe of people. They're related to the Paiute tribe. So the Paiute tribe, if you've ever watched anything about Mormon documentaries, I've been listening to a seven-part podcast series on Mormonism, learning all about it. That's wild in its own right. But I've been listening to that. The Paiute Indians were a part of that history. So they're from Utah, California area. So the Awanichi tribe was related to them and was a section of them. If I'm wrong on that, by the way, my wife's Native American, so yell at her. She should have taught me better. But the point is, these people lived in Yosemite for a long time. Eventually, California becomes a state. The U.S. government says, hey, we need to get them out of there for the reasons of because they're Native American. I don't know what they don't profit the land. That's all it is. Like they can't make money off of it with these people living there. So they sent a militia of a bunch of people in 1850 and started what is called the Mariposa War, Marpiosa, Mariposa. And basically extinction effort for the Awanichi people. 40 years later, becomes a national park. All the natives have been driven out. And now it's visited by millions and millions of people. Even in COVID year 2020, when everything lost business, Yosemite still had over, I think it was like 500,000 people come throughout the year. So like it's still super popular.
Right.
But when you got that many people going to one place,
everyone gets COVID.
Horrible things happen.
That's what we're doing. Everyone
COVID. Yeah, that was you guessed it. We finished each other's sandwiches. Segment over. They all got COVID. It ended. But wouldn't that be like anticlimactic? I was like, and that's why the vaccine. And you're like, no. We're going to have that little blue line above our podcast that said, if you want
that has
COVID
been a goal
information.
of mine. That's been a goal of mine for our podcast to have more information about COVID on it.
COVID stands for Curdy out.
Video.
Vienna sausages.
Viciously
ignorant
in
devices.
These
Deception.
parts.
In these parts.
So, anyway, all the people that were there, you have a lot of disappearances. And the thing about the national parks is a lot of these disappearances are almost unexplainable. Ton of unsolved cases. And a lot of it comes down to you'll have, like in Yosemite specifically, you have a lot of people who hear about Yosemite. They show up, they go check it out. Be people like us where we show up and we're like, hey, we can hike. What is it? Some rocks. And then we go and inevitably get lost or forget water or whatever. You have those. They get lost in the woods. They slip off a rock. Things like that. And those are tragic, but those are not what I'm focused on today. Because the national parks are a hotbed of paranormal and supernatural activity connected to these like disappearances. Now, I'm going to give a caveat here. I don't know where you two are at. I don't necessarily believe in all the paranormal, supernatural, UFOs are even a part of it, all those things. But there's a part of my brain that I can turn off and then pretend like, what if though? Like, what if? Come on. So if you're out there listening, you're like, I don't want to hear about it. Just hear us out. Listen, take your little skeptical ears out and put on your listening ears and just hear out that what if. Isn't
I'm on
it
the
fun
same
to
side
think?
of the fence. It's not that I believe that it's there at all times, but it's not that I don't believe it either.
Exactly. I mean, there's something unexplainable, right?
We've all seen the James Webb Telescope pictures. I mean, that's
exactly.
a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff.
J.M. Ross, another
lot
drawback to J.M. Ross, his mother was grabbed by an alien. So
we have to get him to tell that story.
We need to get her on and tell the story, bro.
Please.
All right,
yes.
here's what I'll say. If we get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we will,
Miss Jenny will tell the story of
some other insane milestone. We will call Miss Jenny, Josh's mom, into the show, and she will tell the story of when the alien grabbed her.
Trust me, you want to hear it. It is hilarious.
You got to hear it.
So, all that to be said, a lot of paranormal stuff. So I grabbed just like 3 random examples throughout the years. So one of them is in 1857. There's a haunting in this area called the Grouse. This hiker went up and he could hear like wailing and screaming, and he was actually out hunting. And so he was out there. It got weird, quiet. That night, it was pitch black, no moon, and he could hear people walking around in the woods around him. But he knew almost 100% certainty that he was by himself. This is after the Mariposa Wars happened. The natives had been driven out. He was by himself in this particular area. But he could hear people wailing in the distance, screaming, running through the woods. He could hear brush. And he said it was this ominous feeling. And he like literally packed his stuff up and ran out. And the cabin itself is still to this day, like you can go to this grouse area and it will, called the Grouse or Grouse, whatever it's called, Grouse. He'll show up and you can experience some of this stuff, some of the weird illusion. I don't know what it is, but anyway.
Grouse sounds like IPA.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, horrifying.
Can I get a blueberry
and
grouse?
That's like
horrifying.
Grouse does sound.
Sounds like a
beer.
Hey, I got a grouse.
Yeah.
It does sound like it sounds like something you would be offered at like a microbrewery.
Yes,
and you're
exactly.
like, I don't want that. I don't want that at all. But so that's just like a baseline for the weirdness. Like he just experienced some weird stuff. But specific story that I want to focus on is the story of a girl named Stacy Harris. Stacy Harris. Now, Stacy went with her family in 1981 to go visit Yosemite. They went out there. They were having fun. Her family was experienced hikers. They'd done Yosemite before. They'd been to a lot of national parks. They'd gone hiking. I don't know. I don't know why you would do that with your family. That sounds horrible. Hiking is not fun.
Another shouts to Alex.
Not trying to exercise on vacation for sure.
Do you enjoy hiking? Do y'all like? Is that a thing?
My family aren't big
I do
hikers,
if it's like for exercise. Yeah.
For exercise.
For exercise, I like it because it's a better form than running. Because you're like, okay, I'm in nature. It's just kind of nice, but
it's true.
On vacation, I'm trying.
Kimmy and I did it.
Would you ever?
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask if you'd ever go on a trip to go hiking, because I would not.
No, I wouldn't plan to
not specifically
on a trip. It would just be like a spur of the moment, like the weather's nice, let's go explore the outdoors for a moment.
Okay.
Like me and Kimmy went to
I know somebody
Chattanooga,
who...
and there was just like basically paved path. I mean, it wasn't, but it was laid out for us. And we still almost got lost. So we're not made.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man, like so again, I'm a youth pastor. I took a group of middle school students hiking this week. We went to this place called Garden of the Gods. Ooh. It was beautiful. Never want to go back because it was hot. It was some rocks. Like it was nothing like, anyway. Well, this Stacy Harris's family, the Harris family goes out. Stacy was 14 at the time. And they get there, they hike up this huge long trail to get to this specific area where they are. They go in the cabin. She goes in, she's like, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to go take some pictures. Do you want to come with me?" And her dad's like, "No, I'm not going to come with you. It's not you go have fun, go enjoy yourself. And here's the thing about it is like, that's pretty normal for this area because it's not a really dangerous area. Nobody had ever disappeared there. And she was with a group of 6 other people in the area. And in fact, she wasn't by herself. And this is all important. She went on this trail wearing flip-flops. That's how like not treacherous the terrain was. So she goes on the trail, which also don't wear flip-flops when you go hiking. Like
rule number 1.
Or ever. Like, just don't wear flip-flops,
Flip-flops go to the Birkenstock, the slide.
The Croc even, that's better, but
yeah, anything that splits my toes, I don't want to wear.
Yeah.
No. I got a little gremlin feet anyway, but
they call them thongs in England.
Disgusting.
Grab your thongs.
Do they really?
Yeah,
I like that.
That's better
than thongs.
in Haiti. Fun fact.
Wow, that is a
very
fun fact.
literal
When I was in high school, I had some that had a bottle opener on the bottom, as though I was going to ever use that. It's also on the foot of my shoe, which is disgusting. Now that I'm thinking about
you
it.
put it on the mouth.
Where your mouth's going.
Yeah, I had some Fender guitars flip flops. They were just like they had like
a guitar.
No, they were regular. They were just like sunburst, and then just said like Fender. Hard.
Walmart specials.
I went to church
Another
one time. What a
Walmart
mistake.
shout out. That's definitely where you purchased those.
Yeah,
could be, bro. Don't out me though.
I don't know that she was wearing Fender flip flops, but Stacy was wearing flip flops. So she goes out, and that's just to make an example. Like that's how not dangerous this terrain is.
Nonchalant.
She is okay with it. She goes out. While she's on the way, she meets this 70-year-old man who is actually a tour guide. And he's like, hey, as any good outdoorsman would do, he offered to accompany her just to be there. And she was like, yeah, great. And it was in the 80s before you were afraid of 70-year-old men in the woods. Like that was just normal. Like you just, 70-year-old people, you'd be like, oh, yeah, he's old. I can take him.
Good dude.
That'd be my thought. So he's walking with her. They go down. She's taking some pictures, and there's other people in the area where she's taking pictures at. So she's not by herself by any means. And so she goes behind a rock, and the 70-year-old guy that was with her told the story. He was like, she went behind the rock,
never to return,
and never came back out. And it was like right at the edge of the woods, but like she went in, and that was it.
Straight Narnia.
He waited for a while.
Straight Narnia. She was eating
search for her
rose petal delight with Mr. Tumnus.
Turkish delight. Turkish
delight.
It is. It's flavored like rose. But that's pretty the close. Crazy part. Here's the insanity of it. The search for her started within minutes of her disappearing. Like, and search and rescue was there within the hour. Their family, many people were spreading out, scouring the woods. There's one thing that they found: her lens cap. No, it wasn't a flip flop. No,
harping on the flip flops.
So
I thought that would be all that was found.
Yeah. Well, her story is like one of the more just a flip flop with a bottle opener on the bottom and a Fender guitar pick, and it was like, what is happening? But no, so that's just like indicative of the power that is happening in this place. And I say power very specifically because these disappearances happen often. There's stories of hunters who see unexplainable creatures. There were some that were deer hunting. They looked up and they saw this like big black monster thing come through. Bigfoot. It looked at them, walked behind a rock, and disappeared. Where there was nowhere, like there was no tunnel, there was no. It happens all the time. People will tell stories of like they're running together, and one of them was a runner. It was in the 90s. They were running on the trails, which is just like nerd. Anyway, RIP. But they're running and they were talking to each other. They stopped talking for a minute. He turned on a trail they were running on. Dude was gone. Disappeared. No trace of him. They found a little boy who disappeared. They never found his body, but they found his clothes folded up sitting on top of a boulder. So whatever you may think it is, something nefarious.
The worst part of laundry.
Yeah, that's weird, right? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's so specific to just like fold up the clothes after you just take them.
No. There's a lot of theories on what happened to Stacey Harris. Like people were like, well, maybe she did this. There's a lot of discrepancies in the story itself. Like even the way it's reported, like they talk about a lake, but people were like, there's no lake in the area where she was. Like she was going to go take pictures of a lake, but they're like, there's no lake there. Like it doesn't make sense that she would go there. Right. So there's some discrepancies, and there are people who, blame the father. They're like, father killed her. The story was covered up, whatever. Regardless, something weird's happening, because this happens regularly. And I've shared this a little bit, but the people they do find is even weirder. So like occasionally they'll find the missing person that disappears in an unexplainable situation. And for example, there's a little boy they found. He was 12 years old, and he was 5 or 6 miles from where they had last seen him, which is pretty good hike for a kid.
He's moving,
especially in the wilderness. And so if you're wearing shoes, this would make sense. But they found him, he didn't have any shoes on. Okay?
Oh, no.
Not that weird. Maybe they fell off when he was hiking down, whatever. All of his body was scratched up and bleeding and bruised from being in the woods. His feet were perfectly clean.
His shoes
didn't even look like he was
walking on a mountain.
Did they explode into nothing?
Did they?
Could have been.
If they were fender flops, they were.
Could have been.
He had a flat tire.
What people said. Well, that very well made. Yeah, he blew out. He didn't have his Crocs in sport mode.
It was like Mike
right.
Whenever he's playing his big game and his Michael Jordan shoes blow out on him.
When he loses his powers.
Part of the movie.
Except this one was his life was lost.
T's and P's. T's and P's.
Yeah, T's and P's.
How many people did you say died?
Pretty similar situation.
How many people died?
Like in Yosemite
over the years.
I thought you said that.
No,
there's 1,600
throughout, not just Yosemite, throughout all national parks.
All
1,600.
So they need to do like a show where they do like the Oscars, where they show those that have passed away at national parks over the years.
Here's the crazy thing about that. This is was actually my next fact. Was like they don't Yosemite does not report any of these. They don't keep a database of the missing people. So there's a podcast called Missing 411. That's stories of these explainable things. There's also another podcast, shout out. I got some of this information from y'all. Go check them out. They're called National Parks After Dark, and they just tell stories of national parks, things like that. But it's weird. So like you may have even heard this before, but there's potentially feral people in the Yellowstone and Yosemite national parks. I saw it on TikTok. It's been debunked a little bit because there's no substantiated rumors, but it's been going around for years. Like even before national parks were national parks, there was rumor that in Yosemite there were cannibalistic feral people that lived there. And there's stories of people seeing like people out in the woods, finding random dudes just like wearing a loincloth. I mean, it's some weird stuff, man.
A lot of Slender Man sightings.
Was I with y'all when that older gentleman was telling us the story of the first ever prison in Mississippi? So I don't know who I was with, but this old guy was telling us that when the first Mississippi penitentiary was built, they didn't put walls around it because all of the people around said the woods that led out of the prison, there were cannibals inside. And like the first 3 guys that escaped from prison, they were like, oh, let them go. And apparently they were eaten.
What?
It was an unreal story that I've had no follow-up questions on because I was so afraid. He didn't say where
I don't want to know the answer.
Mississippi, but I assume he was telling the truth.
We have to research that. We have to. I mean, I can't.
It was an unreal story, and he said it so nonchalantly that if that's a word, that like I was just like, well, those people were eaten. I just believed them right then and there.
Just like matter of fact.
Yeah, if true, that's terrifying.
It's huge, big if true. Well, so like that's a rumor in Yosemite. There's also just plethora of UFO sightings. Like it is.
Oh yeah.
A hotbed for like seeing weird stuff in the sky. And so the question for like a Stacey Harris type case is, well, maybe something not of this world took her. Like that's the theory is like, hey, maybe they use this, but that is actually substantiated in some of these claims because of the Native American ground that it's on. Now we can I could name 3 or 4 different locations. You can think of the Bell Witch Cave in Tennessee, which was on a Native American ground. It's these places where the Native American people were, a horrible tragedy happened, like the Mariposa War for Yosemite. And it feels like, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound just, I got a tinfoil hat on right now. it's almost as if the walls of reality are thinner.
It's upside down.
Like, exactly, the upside down. It's almost like things can slip through in the national parks are manifest here that maybe in other places don't. And a lot of these are from the Native American tribes that have been there, like the very spiritual part of them. Like it's weird. And like one of these places is the Skinwalker Ranch. You never heard of Skinwalker Ranch? It's a dope name. It's in Utah. We could do a whole episode on it, and we just made it because it's interesting. They sell merch. Well, it's just a place it's the only documented paranormal research, like UFO research. It's funded by a billionaire. People went out and like, they have like weird stuff happen. This family, the Gormans, which is their pseudonym, that we don't know their real name, but they went and they moved in and a lot of weird stuff happened. We can talk about it. But the point is that is on Paiute land that they were driven out of, the same as Yosemite being driven out. The Awanichis were Paiute, which are also known as the Utes.
So it's almost cursed.
I would say almost
heavily
100%. Yes, which like whatever you believe, like weird stuff keeps happening. Unexplainable cases keep happening.
Right,
it's in Yosemite.
They cursed it out of spite.
A spike. Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. Well, they have stories like there's a story at this specific part in Yosemite that's like a cave with like a cliff on the edge of this thing called the Opano that is like a mist that comes up and essentially will kidnap children or kill you or pull you down into the water. And a lot of times, like maybe Native Americans are giving name to something that's unexplainable to them at the time, like a gust of wind or whatever, and they call it a spirit. But regardless, I mean, weird stuff's happening at Yosemite and in all national parks. And we could do, again, there's a whole podcast series going through different national parks, going over what's going on. So anyway,
so you're saying it's probably best. It's probably best that I haven't gone to a lot of.
I'm like, I think I'm going to cross Yosemite off the list.
Yeah, I don't even want to go there.
Not be around
so the last little part I have on it. Well, even on the way into Yosemite isn't safe. This is the last thing I'm going to say about it. There's a man named Kerry. Let me make sure that I say his name correctly.
Dude, Kerry.
His name is Kerry Stainer. And in 1999, between February and July, 4 people were found murdered just outside of Yosemite or right in Yosemite. So there's 4 bodies that show up, murders. It turns out these people were being murdered by a handyman that was hired by Yosemite who was using his keys to unlock their cabins and come in and kill them. And he had a relatively normal life up to then. And so the weird part of this, like that's weird. He was a serial killer, kind of Norman Bates kind of deal, dude from Psycho, killed people in the hotel, used his keys, whatever.
Right.
Same kind of deal. But
I barely know it.
Kerry Stainer.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, back to murder.
Back to death.
Stainer, I hardly know her. Well, he killed 4 women. Yeah, in cold blood. So he was captured. Talked about, but he said like he was like it was something about being where I was that like really fueled that part. Like there was probably something in him, and I'm sure if somebody did a deep dive, there's his history probably led to this moment. But something about Yosemite or the area where he was unlocked in him this. Like it was, again, the walls of reality are thinner. Things get weirder. You feel these like creepy places. There's stories of just random staircases appearing, staircases that lead to nowhere, and they say never go up the staircase. But yeah, so yeah, that is Yosemite, and more specifically, national parks and the weird things that are happening there that nobody's talking about.
I have a good story, actually. I don't know if Crater Lake, it has to be a national park because it's the deepest lake in America. And it's from like I think an old volcano.
Deep lakes.
Yeah, it's in Oregon. And I almost lost my life there. So it's so dark up there. There's absolutely no lights in these mountains in Oregon. And we get to the campsite that's at Crater Lake late at night, like it's pitch black. And we pull off to the side of the road, and we're like, okay, is it here? Maybe. There's a little sign we can't quite see. And so we walk out a little bit. We all kind of stop at this one part, and we're like, there's a terrifying feeling right here. I don't know what's happening, but it's terrifying. And so we walk away from that ledge. We keep driving. We end up finding the campsite. The next day, we go back to that point. We were standing at the ledge that they drop off.
Oh my gosh.
That's hundreds of feet down.
Dude, see?
I'm talking, it was this crazy pit in your stomach, but you can't see that the lake is just like out in front of you, but you cannot see because it's so dark. And we would have all died.
Dude, that fender
flop was going to be there. And nothing.
One flip flop.
Remember a movie.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it's like daylight outside. And like when you said that, it sent like chills down my spine. Like I was
literally thinking about that moment, the feeling that's like in your stomach. It's like I still get chills as well. It was terrifying.
It would have been sick. You would have experienced the falling dream though.
Yeah, and then
forever.
It would have been over.
But I mean, not many can say that. Had you somehow survived, you could have been like, guys, the dream feels exactly how it's supposed to.
Exactly like that. Yeah. Yep.
All right, boys. Well, anything else on the natty parks?
No, I like it, Kurt. That was good.
I'm never going.
You did scare me away.
I thought
from the parks. I'll say that. My biggest memory from Yellowstone is the bear boxes. So like every mile or so of a trail you're on is a box where you can just escape bears. You just lock yourself in it, and if a bear is trailing you, you just get in that box until he's found some salmon elsewhere, and you protect yourself.
Do you think you'd be safe in the box? Like, does it feel secure in the box, or that a grizzly bear would just absolutely shred
how do you get out?
I feel like it'd be making myself into a packaged snack for him. Like it's just opening.
If he can figure out how to get in the box, he's already so mad that you've bear boxed him that he's definitely about to make you a little snack.
Bear boxed.
You're his trail mates that day. So I mean.
Bears are so cute. Dude.
Yeah.
Imagine, hey, I see this on TikTok all the time. Why are bears shaped like I could pet them and I'm told not to pet them? Like, if he's not my friend, why is he shaped?
A shaved bear is just a weasel.
Yeah, he shouldn't be.
If you've ever seen that picture.
Have you ever seen a shaved bear?
It's terrifying. It's actually horrifying. That's how they should look, because you're like, oh yeah, I should not get close to that.
I don't need to be close to that.
I could smack around a shaved bear.
Never shot.
I think I could beat up a black bear.
They're scary.
I'm confident. I could beat
black bears. Yeah.
There was a dude. He posted on TikTok and he was like, "There's a bear feet away." He was like freaking out, like, "Get away, get away!" And it was like, yeah, I did say feet. There was a little bear, and it was like
a coup of bears arrived.
He was like, a coup of bears. A group of bears is called a sloth.
Is it really?
Everybody learned something today.
Wow. Well, and here's what else. Yep. If it's brown, get down. If it's black, fight back. If it's white, good
fight
night,
back.
Friend.
Hit it in the snout. Yeah.
Dude, I saw a picture of a polar bear compared to like a school bus, and I will tell you, good night.
Pictures of them after
polar bears are
terrifying.
Savages.
It's covered in blood. Their fur is actually clear.
Yeah, that is so strange.
They have clear fur.
White?
I hate that.
I guess.
Something like that.
All right. This has been Bear Facts.
Strong bear segment.
To see if they
Bear Facts with the boys.
Your son's named Bear. You should know everything about bears.
Two I said
they didn't.
You have a bear.
I do know a lot
about
bears because my child is named Bear. I do have a bear on my chest, and it's not just a bare chest pun, but it's just like Anyway, all right, boys. Well, we're heading into our last segment, and our final segment,
a new segment. Yep.
Brand new, brought to you by Mr. Cam himself. Cam, you wanna brief everyone?
Yeah.
Us
so this might be a total flop. I don't know. It'll probably be funny.
No shot.
But I was just thinking, man, we likey stuff. We got to start ranking some stuff. We come with these very topical likies and dislikies that I know everyone thoroughly enjoys. And I will say this. As our audience grows, I would love for some audience members to give us some likies and dislikies. If you, Kurt, what's the email?
I'm going to pause here real quick. It is We Likey That Pod, P-O-D. We Likey That Pod @gmail.com. Send them in. I check the email every day.
Have we ever gotten
there's never any submissions. But No. We do have a lot of reviews. I said on the Instagram, and I do mean this, we're going to read reviews of our podcast. I've read a couple, and there's one that's really mean that's going to be hilarious to read, but we're going to read, once we accumulate some more, we are going to read the reviews that you leave. So if you leave a review, we will read it word for word.
Yep.
Okay? All right.
So this segment is, we're going to skip We Vibies this week. But I'll just throw in a quick We Vibey. Young Gravy. Go listen to him. I know you all have, but Young Gravy's got the bops for the weekend.
Horses by Maggie Rogers. New song
just
came out
one
this
out.
week.
We're
Worth
just doing
listening
it.
to.
Good.
Boots by Hardy.
Dude, Rock
Fire
by Hardy is just an all-time genius concept.
We're going down the We Vibey hole.
So, yeah, We Vibey.
Sold out. Another vibe.
All right. This is a list, okay? A top 10 list of just a random thing, okay? And we're going to do it every so often, maybe every week if this is a hit. But this week, it is cheese. Cheeses, if you will. It's our top 10 cheeses.
I want to be clear. We were about to hit record, and Cameron's like, I have an idea. And we were like, okay. Yeah. And he's like, I need you to write down your top 10 list of cheeses. And he just left it open.
I now realize,
and so we did
I didn't follow the format. I put cheeses I don't like as well. So I've already busted my own format.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. I've got a top 10 that's going to win. Also, we're going to do this, and I put it in my notes app. I assume, Mulvey, did you write it on paper like a farmer?
In calligraphy.
You did.
Wow, you're old. Put it on my notes app. I know Cam put it on his notes app. Like, got it on the notes app. We'll post the pictures and let y'all vote on them, and whoever wins continues to win glory. So
we're gonna say who's the best at the end as a group. Although I guess we'll all be biased towards
and then we want you to
ourselves,
vote on it.
So that might not work, but
I don't know. You might surprise me.
All right.
Who's going first on this?
So my first one, 10. Which
are you going
10
at 10?
to 1?
Okay.
Yeah. My number 10
to
ranking,
1. Okay.
which I didn't follow my own format. What a dummy I am. Number 10 is toe cheese.
You're right, Jim.
Top 10 cheeses. Number 10 is toe cheese. But now that it's the ones we like, it's getting rid of your toe cheese after wearing flip-flops all day.
Fair enough.
Good spin.
A lot of toe cheese after the fender flops.
Okay. Number 9. And this is another one. The cheese of the friend group. So every friend group has that cheese in the group that says the cheesiest stuff, or like he's like sends you TikToks from 4 months ago, and like thinks they're hilarious.
We have one.
Or like, doesn't read the messages, and then just like in the group messages might comments on something someone already said.
J.M. Ross.
So the cheese of the friend
group. We have two cheeses.
He's lovable. He's lovable,
two cheeses,
but he's still the cheese of the friend group. We'll put him at 9.
The cheese.
Number 8, I have stinky cheese. And by this, I mean the cheese that you can't quite identify, but is delicious. Like at a fancy restaurant or something like that.
Okay.
It's got that stank on it.
I won't say blue cheese. I'm not a blue cheese believer. But a stinky cheese nonetheless.
She's coming back.
Stinky cheese nonetheless.
Love stinky cheeses.
I was thinking like a pitcher got that stinky cheese on the pitch.
That preludes my next one.
On the pitch.
Number 7, high stinky cheddar. So, as a baseball fan, my friend Jake Coulter shouts, I know you listen to this. We would just sit around, and if we were watching a baseball game, Jake would always hit us with the high stinky cheddar, and that was always the highlight of the baseball match. At 6, I have pepper jack. Self-explanatory. 5, nice. I have shredded cheese, a very versatile cheese. Okay, yes. Tacos, baked potato, salad, all kinds of stuff you can do with shredded cheese.
I should probably save this for my own list, but I'm like a purist on shredding your own cheese.
Okay.
Like I buy blocks of cheese.
I've literally never done that.
It melts way better. It's a game changer. But yes, you can buy like blocks and you shred it. It is 5 million times better. I'll say it. It's the best. Just give it a shot.
Okay. 4, I have Kraft Singles. The most artificial cheese ever.
Yeah,
but and I'm not a huge cheese guy. Like I can't just eat straight cheese, but a Kraft Single, I could eat Kraft Singles, baby. Just like it's candy.
Ooh.
I'm like a dog with Kraft singles. If you put a pill in there that was unidentifiable, I'd eat it with a Kraft single.
I would take it, yeah. You could kill me with a Kraft
number
single.
3, I have mozzarella stick cheese. Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's like rubber, but it's delicious.
Number 2, I have grated Parmesan. And not because of the taste, but because of the feeling where you're having another person, a man at an Italian restaurant,
grated.
A woman, but a man more so because he's doing my chores for me, grating the Parmesan over my pasta and me telling him when to stop.
Yeah,
right. At an amount that is just, it looks like the Grand Tetons, the amount
more.
Grated Parmesan.
More.
I love that there's one brand
the little green bottle.
Grated Parmesan you can make. It's the green bottle. And I like it because
a monopoly.
I like to customize my food. So I'm huge on just dumping it down, baby.
It's like an extra spice.
I'm in.
It's like
I'm
an
in
extra
on that.
spice Parmesan cheese.
Yes.
And at the number 1 spot,
100%.
I have melted cheese. It applies to all cheeses.
Just
melted cheese.
Yeah,
I think that is the best.
It's definitely
number
superior
one
when it's
it
melted.
applies to all cheeses.
I like
and any cheese melted just makes
Cover
something
all,
so much better.
It's better.
And makes the cheese better. So
Yeah.
That's my list.
Yeah. All right, I'll go next. At number 10, I did all good cheeses because it was a top 10 cheeses. So that was the concept we were given.
Cheese.
So I have Cheddar Jack Cheez-Its, the specific brand of Cheez-Its. Cheddar Jack is a flavor profile that they have that is absolute diesel. It is so good.
Yeah, they're gasoline for sure.
The reason it's at number 10 is because if you eat enough Cheez-Its, it solidifies into a ball of Cheez-It cement in your gullet, and it's just death for you. Anyway, all right, so number 9, I have pepper jack cheese on a Chick-fil-A sandwich specifically, but pepper jack cheese.
That is a good pepper jack.
The nacho cheese inside of Taco Bell burritos, specifically the nacho cheese, like the cheese sauce in them, not the shredded cheese. Yes, it's in the beefy 5-layer for sure, but it's in other things. Number 7, I have cream cheese in any crock pot based recipe, like where you know how white women love putting a block of cream cheese. Have y'all seen those
TikToks where the guys like stopping the video when they throw in cream cheese blocks? Yeah,
exactly. Yes. I love them.
Yeah.
I love them. And then we have blue cheese. I love blue cheese. Specifically with some super spicy wings, but also on pizza. I just love blue cheese.
Down the notch on my end.
The handful, this is number 5. Specifically the handful of shredded cheese you grab at 3 a.m. when you're starving. Like the one that you like, you become a cheese gremlin and you just like, you've never truly been hungry, but in the middle of the night, there's nothing else to eat in the house, and you're like, I'm going to get some shredded cheese.
What a way to make your digestive system have a panic attack as you go back to sleep.
Yes. Yep.
As you sleep, yeah.
The next one, number 4, is jalapeno cheddar cheese Cheetos.
Jalapeno cheese, baby.
Those are the best Cheetos. Number 3, jalapeno cheese. So number 3 is going to be Mississippi State Cannonball cheese, Edam cheese, whatever you call
Mississippi State cheese is
it's so sharp, dude. Eat it with some summer sausage; it'll change your life. Next up, we have chili cheese anything. If anybody knows anything about me, they know old Curdy is a chili cheese boy. I love chili cheese. Wolf brand, specifically, if I was to go really specific, what I want is like a Ward's. It's a chain restaurant in Mississippi. Ward's chili cheese sandwich.
Headquarters is in my town, baby.
Been chasing that.
Hattiesburg.
I love it. I've been chasing that high for years. And then last but not least would be queso cheese, like any cheese melted essentially, but cheese dips specifically from Mexican restaurants, or the Diablo queso from Qdoba was my thought process.
Good work,
Ooh, so good. Yeah,
yep.
I respect it.
That's mine.
It's a good list.
All right, Mulvey.
Okay.
We're running short on time, so we got to get tight with these.
Okay. I'll roll them out. So these are not in order because he gave us a couple minutes to do this, and I just named the 10 I could think of.
3 completely different formats.
This is just 10 cheese or cheese-adjacent items, okay? Number 1, pita mods. The cheese are on pita mods in Greek places.
It's like a little bit burned somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, yes, sir. All right, Lunchable cheese. Fire cheese. Don't know what it is. Probably Kraft cheese.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
So I counter your Cheez-Its with Tabasco Cheez-Its.
I'm not
Tabasco Cheez-Its are unbelievable.
They're bomb.
Mac and cheese or Kraft mac and cheese powder. That's a great cheese.
Yes, dude.
I don't know if it's even cheese, but it's very good.
You can buy a bulk, like 10 gallons of it off of Amazon for like $20. Just cheese powder.
Put it on anything.
Just heads up.
Love that. Subway mozzarella specifically. Don't know what it is, but I always get their Subway mozz. School stuffed crust pizza. The stuffed crust
the
part
cheese.
of the pizza.
Never melted,
that.
but somehow goes so well.
I got bit.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes, it can't melt. I don't think scientifically.
Yeah, I would agree.
I got baby bells. Little baby bells.
Yeah.
Fire. You can just crush
Shout
them.
to my
just
wife.
my popcorn,
Just
bro.
peeling that wax off alone is huge.
The process. Their process.
Shout to my wife when we're dieting.
I
She's
agree
like, "Well, just eat a
wholeheartedly."
Baby Bell," and I'm like, I can't stomach a thing of cheese, but she just houses them.
I am extremely lactose intolerant. So this is a very volatile conversation in general, but I eat them all anyways.
Hey man, you could have just said you don't have to trauma dump on us,
bro.
okay?
We all have
Sorry,
struggles.
brother. This is traumatic. Thinking of any of this.
Ice cream, milk,
Canned cheese.
triggered.
Okay. Canned cheese whiz.
Did you say
Canned cheese or like canned
cheese whiz?
Yes,
Cheese
with the
whiz.
nozzle.
Yes.
The nozzle, yeah. I also put mozzarella sticks because they're goated.
Yeah.
And to wrap it up, mozzarella. My favorite cheese. I said
Mozzarella
four of these things
Yeah,
have mozzarella.
A lot of mozzarella.
Got
So
to
to
the bottom of the
emphasize
barrel.
mozzarella,
The least
because
flavored
Bottom of
cheese.
the barrel of the list and just started listing mozzarella stuff.
Mozzarella.
Mozzarella also bothers me the least
Because there's
my
no
lactose intolerance,
flavor.
so I eat a lot of mozzarella.
Yeah, it's also
there's
the
not much
wettest
to it.
cheese. Have you ever seen them take that wet mozzarella out of the bag?
It's wild,
wet.
yeah.
Fresh mozz, baby.
Mozzarella.
Yeah.
Mozzarella.
We had some fresh mozz.
Yeah, that's my hot top 10.
Well, that's awesome.
Fresh mozz, babe.
Love
Yeah.
it. Well, if you enjoy the top 10 segment, remember, who do we think
I think
won?
Mulvey's was the truest to the cheese. I think mine took a terrible
most mozzarella.
beginning, but I ended strong with melted cheese. I'll stick.
You hit
Yeah,
with
not many
you
of
hit
yours.
with cheese.
Not many of yours were food.
The high stinky
but
cheddar
I
wins.
do
me
like the
over,
list.
I think.
I love that one. That
I
one's
get
up
that.
there.
I get that.
It might be the single best one.
I'll
on
give
the list.
I'll give a vote to Mulvey as well.
I get a
I'll
half
throw
point.
Mulvey.
Let's go.
I'll say Mulvey.
Other half to
All right, give you a
Mulvey,
half
so
point.
Mulvey wins.
All right, Mulvey. We'll say amongst us, you win, but viewers at home, or listeners at home, however
You can decide.
consuming this, you decide. We want to hear from it, so we'll post it on Instagram probably whenever the pod's out, whatever it looks like. So, sweet.
Yeah,
Anything
I guess
else,
I would
Wheels?
just say I'm never gonna take no loss, and I'm never gonna lose my sauce. I'm just gonna be a boss and get money. Cue the outro.
I respect that. I respect
cue
that
it.
hustle.
Cue it up. Never gonna.
Gang.
Never
It's
gonna.
uploading. Don't leave.
Don't leave. I haven't even ended.
I was
I haven't
on-
even ended it yet. So I like to give us a little bit of